Well, let's switch gears now, Mike, to the slate of game threes tonight. We have four on tap, of course. Carolina versus the New York Islanders. We have Boston, Florida, Dallas, Minnesota, Edmonton, LA. So, looking at these matchups, which one is intriguing you the most tonight?
Man, I think Dallas and Minnesota is pretty sexy. This has been, not just a tough series, but it's also the goalie factor for myself. Philip Gustafson in game one stopped 51 of 53 shots in a double overtime victory. He was outstanding. But while Coach Dean Evison chose to go with Marc-Andre Fleury for game two, and I've got a piece out today at Daily Faceoff that's tackling that question of, are tandems going to be more prevalent in the NHL and the Stanley Cup playoffs as in the future? Okay, and I've got some different opinions on that from goalie coaches, from NHL goalies as well. Here's the story, though. They go to Fleury for game two. He allowed 7 goals and 31 shots, and he was really hard on himself after the game. So it was 4-1 midway through. If Flower makes a couple of those saves, this might be a 2-0 series in favor of Minnesota. And so I fully expect Philip Gustafson to go in the net for game three tonight. My question, Matt, is if Gustafson's good in game three, does he go in game four? I think he does. I think there's a good chance that it turns into Gustafson's net. It's not that taxing in playoffs. You play every other day for a goalie. It's not like there's back-to-backs. So I'm curious to see how that goes, but also the rough stuff. I mean, there were so many penalty minutes in the last game, 92 in game two. Listen, dude, you got two teams with big, meaty men slapping meat out there. And I'm here for it because it's intense. It's playoffs. It's had good and bad goaltending. It's all over the map. And, of course, I picked the Stars to win, so they better win, Matt.
Yeah, we both picked them to go all the way and win the Stanley Cup. It's going to be tight, and the goaltending tandem thing is interesting. I did some studies on it a couple years ago, and usually the team that goes all the way has one goalie that wins all 16 games, with just a few exceptions. But maybe starting in the bubble, when you saw that load management coming in, maybe it's going to change. In terms of what game I have my eye on closest tonight, I'm looking at LA, the Edmonton Oilers LA Kings series. What's really intriguing to me about the series is I feel like people got a little overzealous in picking the Oilers to just run through the Kings because of the McDavid factor. They were hot down the stretch. Our own Mike Gold picked a sweep on our website, and I said, hey, good for you. The Oilers, they have a lot of momentum. But I think people underestimate the Kings are a good team. And this is the same team that took Edmonton to 7 games last year without Drew Doughty. They didn't have Kevin Fiala yet. They didn't have Eunice Corpusalo in net. And I feel like the Kings deserve a little more respect. And to me, I think they're showing that it's not a fluke that they've pushed Edmonton so far in the series. I think we could be looking at a 7-game battle. And the big story tonight is, can Connor McDavid get going? 1 point in the first 2 games. And the Kings, they got the last change now. They have 2 of the best shutdown centers in the NHL in Anze Kopitar and Philip Deneau. So it's always great to see if a superstar can overcome legitimately stiff competition. So you have Connor McDavid going against some of the best defensive forwards in hockey, and I love a matchup like that because that's how legends are born, right? McDavid, he already is a legend, let's be honest, but just legendary moments maybe is the better way to put it. We'll see if he can persevere. It's going to be a great series, I think, start to finish. Okay, Mike, it's time now to bring in our buddy Nick Alberga of Leafs Morning Take, and let's do some Muzzy's musings. All right, it's time for a new edition of Muzzy's Musings. It's brought to you by Boston Pizza and their all-new menu items powered by Fanalytics with pizza flights, deep-fried pickle wedges, and the beer mimosa. There are plenty of reasons to head to Boston Pizza for the playoffs. Sounds delicious to me. And here we have our buddy Nick Alberga, of course, the host of Leafs Morning Take, fantasy writer for Daily Faceoff, wears many hats for the Nation Network. Nick, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm fantastic. I'm still trying to figure out why Marc-Andre Fleury started the other night, guys, but I'm doing well other than that.
I'm with you on that one. So, Nick, we've discussed the Leafs game last night a little bit in terms of what happened on the ice, but I want to get your take on something that happened very close to the ice, but technically off the ice. We have yellow sweatshirt guy going at it with Tanner Jeannot, who had already gone to battle with Luke Schenn, bloody Luke Schenn. So what is your take on that incident, and does it represent anything bigger about the momentum in the series?
It brought back shades of the Ty Domi era, which, again, I think for anybody who's watched a Leafs game at Scotiabank Arena and say the last 15 years dating back to the Pat Quinn era, it's been so easy to play in that barn. Like, I'm not a former National Leaguer, but to stroll in there, it's like a Sunday morning stroll. You pick up the 2 points or you score a goal because you're a local product, and then you move on with life. But I like the fact, I know the sample size is small, guys, but to have one game where the crowd's actually engaged, they were loud. They got in the grill a bit of Patrick Maroon and Corey Perry.